Hey guys, we are being asked to solve these equations, which means they want to know what the variable is equal to, okay? So 7 times what plus 5 will give me negative 16, okay? So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you something really fast. Don't switch videos. It'll be fast, okay? If I have 5 equals 5, right? I think we can agree on that. If I add 1 to both sides, I get 6 equals 6, right? Which I think we can agree is still true, okay? So we changed what it looked like, but it's still true, okay? So basically, as long as you do the same thing to both sides of the equation, it's true, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We are going to manipulate our equations here so that they still are true, but they look the way we want them to, okay? So we kind of go opposite order of operations. So I'm going to get rid of this plus 5 first, okay? So I'm going to subtract 5 from this side. And the reason I'm doing that is because then this will be 0, and I'll just be left with 7h on that side, okay? But just like we already said, if I do it to one side of the equal sign, I got to do it to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 5 from this side, okay? So those go away. So I'm left with 7h equals negative 16 minus 5. That's like I owe you $16. And I'm like, can I borrow $5 more? So how much do I owe you now? I owe you $21. So negative 21. Okay. And then when a variable and a number are written right next to each other, that means they're being multiplied. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 7. Okay. So divide. Again, if I do it to this side, I got to do it to this side to keep my equation balanced, okay? Now, when I have a number over itself, 7 divided by 7 just goes down to 1, right? So I'm left with 1h, or we just write it as h, equals a negative divided by a positive gives me a negative. 21 divided by 7 gives me 3. That is my answer, friends, okay? We can always plug it back in right here. So 7 times negative 3 would give me a negative 21, plus 5 would give me the negative 16. So I'm feeling pretty confident that we did that correctly. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We've got p over 9, or we could say it p divided by 9 minus 7 equals negative 3. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this minus 7 first. So I'm going to add 7 to this side and to this side. Okay, so those go to a 0. So on this side, I'm left with p over 9, okay, equals negative 3 plus 7 gives me 4, okay? Now, p is being divided by 9. The opposite of divide is multiply. So I'm going to multiply this side by 9. If I do it to this side, I got to do it to this side, okay? Now, this is going to, when I multiply this, it's going to look like this, 9p over 9. So it's very similar to this, right? Where those 9s are going to cancel and are going to be left with 1p, which we just write as p. So I'm going to be left with p equals 4 times 9 gives me 36. And that's my answer. Okay. Now, I can always plug it back in and make sure. So 36, we're saying p equals 36. 36 divided by 9 gives me 4. 4 minus 7 gives me negative 3. So again, I'm feeling pretty good. Something I used to do if I had like a test, a math test, is I would try to do all the problems, and then if I had time left over, I'd go back and do this checking stuff, okay? It can be helpful. Okay, now we've got negative 6 times, it's being times by this whole thing, that's why there's parentheses, times 2x minus 1 equals negative 102, okay? Now there's 2 ways we could solve this. I'm going to do it one way. If you want to try it a different way and make sure you get the same answer as me, great, okay? All right, so this 6, like we said, is being multiplied by both of these. I'm trying to get x alone, so I want these parentheses gone. One way to get rid of them is to multiply this 6 in, okay? The distributive property tells me that if I have a problem like this, I can multiply this negative 6 to each of those, okay? So negative 6 times 2x is going to give me negative 12x. x. Okay. Negative 6 times negative 1. A negative times a negative gives me a positive. And 6 times 1 is 6. Okay. And this still equals negative 102. Okay. Now the parentheses are gone. It looks a lot like this one, right? Very similar. So first of all, I want to get rid of that plus 6. So I'm going to subtract 6. You know what I'm going to say. If I do it to this side, I got to do it to the other side. I didn't line that up very well. Pretend like it's right there. So we've got negative 12x equals, this is like, I owe you $102 and I'm like, I need $6 more. So how much do I owe you now? I am negative 108. You should stop lending me money. Okay. All right. So now I've got negative 12x equals negative 108. These are being multiplied. So again, to undo that, I'm going to divide by negative 12 on that side. And I got to do it to the other side to keep my equation balanced. Okay. So these cancel just like these ones, right? So I'm left with 1x, which we just write as x, and negative 108 divided by negative 12 is going to give me, a negative divided by a negative is positive. 108 divided by 12 is 9. Okay, so my answer is 9. Just like before, you can always go plug it back in to make sure you got the right answer. I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Okay, hopefully that made sense. I will link a playlist with some more similar videos if you need some more examples. But talk to you later. Bye.